Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have a magnificent guest with us tonight, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than the mayoral candidate, an activist, a family woman, a frontline trailblazer for herself, the community, and so much more. And that is none other than Mrs. Laverne. I want to make sure I pronounce your name right. Gore. How are you doing this evening, ma'am?
Wonderful. Thank you for asking. I appreciate your time and I appreciate you doing this. I really do. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Well, think the honor is ours on behalf of myself, my family, and the view and audience of the People's Podcast. We thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come have a conversation with us. Right now, all over the city of Cleveland, there's a big buzz, but of course, the state, the great state of Ohio, in which I was born,
Oh,
there's so yes, ma'am, Cincinnati,
home guy.
yes, ma'am. But there's been so much talk about your campaign and you running, and we were like, we got to speak to this sister to hear how we can support and what is what's going on in the city of Cleveland that made you even decide to run.
Okay. Well, can I start out by telling you a little bit about myself, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I grew up in the inner city of Cleveland
Mm.
and I'm one of nine children. And, we are part of a group that didn't have much as far as money is concerned,
Okay.
but we had some parents that were incredible. My mother and father were just absolutely incredible. I'm one of nine. They're both deceased now, but I give every God first and then my parents
Yes,
because they
ma'am.
were they were wonderful. So growing up in the inner city of Cleveland, and when you have nine children, not a lot of people uh, like having that many children. They don't want to rent to you, they don't want to maintain that type of a responsibility. So I went to the public school system in Cleveland, right? And back then, and I say back then because I'm just slightly a little bit older than you, ha. Not a lot was expected out of us. But my parents, because they believed so hard, heartily in education, okay, I grew up on 92nd and Huff, and if you know anywhere, 92nd and Huff, 93rd and Woodland, heart of the inner city. But when you have parents that believe in education, my father was serious. He wasn't playing, he was on the money all the time. And then my mother, uh, again, we're talking generational, right? Back then, my mother was very supportive as a wife and a mother.
Mm,
And
mm.
that's different than today. My father headed the family, but my mother was a very good supporting role. Okay. And they liked each other, of course, because nine kids, you got to like each other. But I went on to the Cleveland public school systems, which were not as favorable because if you know anything about Cleveland, it's very separated. The west side is, the majority community, and the east side was the black community, right? So I'm in the
Mm.
black community, but I went on because I had these parents that were wonderful that told us we could do anything and be anything we wanted to be. And my father used to refer to this as a big tattoo. If you
Mm.
just because you have that big tattoo on your body, don't you let any, because they're going to see that first. They're going to see that and they're going to judge you by it, but they can't take what's in your head. So I went on to graduate high school. Then I went and got my bachelor's degree in economics from the Claremont colleges. I went on to get my master's in education. And then I went
Mm.
on to get my master's in public health. You never stop learning, you know? I married a wonderful guy. Now he's now deceased also, and I have three wonderful sons. I didn't get a daughter,
Mm.
but they all served in the military. They all kind of contributed, and two of them are lawyers now, and one is going to law school. So I took from my parents what they gave to me and gave it to my children,
Mm.
and that was very important. So now I've owned a business for 30 years. I do training, executive training and development. I teach leaders how to be leaders.
Mm. Okay.
Now, I ran for Congress. I mean, I'm a homeowner, I'm a widower. I'm all of those things. But the most important thing is, do you know, God gave me a gift.
Mm,
He blessed my entire family, but he also gave us, I mean, just bountiful gifts, an education, home ownership, healthy children, and a community that we could support. But the biggest thing he gave us was the ability. And I kept saying to the Lord, I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. But, God does something sometimes in your life where he says, I've given you a lot.
mm,
And now it's time for you to give back. And you must give back when he tells you to give back, because I'm not going to kid you. I was on my way to Puerto Rico to retire, right?
mm,
And Cleveland is my home. My husband was a defense contractor. So we spent a great deal of time in Europe and
mm,
in the Middle East. So all of these, I'm seeing the whole world. You're talking about a kid from 92nd and Huff,
mm.
and I'm traveling the world. My children are prospering. And I knew that there was nothing but God that did this, because
Yes,
everybody
ma'am.
doesn't get this. I know. And so when he said, we came up on this election, this Cleveland mayoral election, and they said, well, he's going to run unopposed. I said, how can you run unopposed when we have a 66% illiteracy rate?
Mm,
How can we run unopposed when children are dying in the streets? Just this Saturday, I was out campaigning, and a young Black man, 17 years old, was dead in the middle of the street. I I saw it.
mm.
And I said, but that's not it. We have crime, we have homelessness, we have everything you can imagine, and nobody was doing anything about it. And I know a lot of people say to me, Laverne, what are you doing? Even friends of mine, they're like, you've paid your dues. No, I haven't. Because if I'm seeing all of this in my community, and guess what? It wasn't just in my community, it was in the majority community's community as well. Crime is
Mm.
incredible here. But the 66% illiteracy rate, do you understand that with 66% illiteracy, that means that more than half of the city cannot read? When I graduated high school here in Cleveland, we were 25th in the nation. We are in the 400s now. But more
Mm.
importantly, I didn't go to college and fail. I went to college and competed, because back then, it didn't take me 5 years to finish college. It took me 4, and I graduated in the top of my class coming from an inner city school.
Mm, mm.
And now we have children that can't read, their parents can't. And then everybody said, well, it's the parents. Well, if you don't give people jobs, if you don't give them opportunity, if you don't give them decent housing, then what do you expect from them? What do you honestly expect from? And this is just me talking about the Black community now. Now, I'm sure that you know that I am an independent. I vote Democrat, I vote Republican, I vote interests, mine, and my communities. You know, I'm a businesswoman, so I have to make sure that I just don't vote emotion. I vote what's going to help me and mine. And
Okay.
that, if you're voting one way, as many in the African American community do, then you're cheating not only yourself, but you're cheating our community. Because sometimes everything isn't right for us, but we have to go with what's common, I guess.
Mm,
So I
mm,
decided, and I know this sounds, it's not an elitist what I'm about to say. I took $50,000 of my own money,
mm,
and I said, you know what? I'm going to run for mayor.
mm.
I am going to run for mayor with my own money. I'm going to take $50,000 and run. My children were like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. So they contributed, right? So we ended up with
Mm.
like $70,000. We end up with 70, and we run for mayor, because we were not going to let what was happening continue and let someone run unopposed. You're going to run unopposed with a 66% illiteracy ratio. The price of living here is incredible. We have people living in the cemetery, homeless people, have encamped in the cemetery. We have African American women, children, and men that live on the streets in tents here. Nobody's telling anybody about that, but we can do something about that. We can do something about that. And if it took I didn't solicit any money. I just said, what, we're talking about yard signs, we're talking about t-shirts. Well, what are we talking about here? Banners. We've got 70 grand and we can do that. And I know that's the gift from God as well, that we had the money to do it. Because a lot of people say 70 grand is a lot of money. Not if you're trying to save a community. Actually, it's very little. And according to me, our community should have joined together to look at all that's happening. And I'm not criticizing anybody, but I am. Sometimes, and this is just my opinion, as African Americans, we get used to accepting what everybody gives us. And we don't fight for what we deserve.
Yes, ma'am.
We deserve better. We deserve our children to have a life. Because if you can't read, what are you going to do in 10 years? How are you going to raise your family? How are you going to feed your family? How are you going to prosper? And then you raise property taxes, everything costs so much. If you don't know that what I'm saying is true, you can say anything you want to me, but eventually people get tired of giving you things. And you have to get it for yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
And as Black folks, we got to start getting it for ourselves, because it sounds like the pie is being divided and we're not getting any of it. We're not even getting a slice. And I just got tired. I got tired because God did not mean us to live like this.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a good life. I'm not going to lie to you. Many people say, well, you can. No, but I grew up with nothing. But I grew up with a lot of love and a lot of determination and good parents. So I decided that my $70,000 contribution was just something that I needed to do personally. But win or lose, I decided that at least somebody was going to pay attention. Somebody's going to hear about the 66% illiteracy rate. They're going to hear about the people that are dead in the streets and in a body. They're going to hear about how children are being raped by other children. That's the latest things. How you go into the Family Dollar and there are homeless people bathing in the parking lot. They're going to hear about that, because those are the real things that we ignore. And we can no longer ignore that because they're happening in our community. And people can tell you all the time, forgive me, Lord, if I'm wrong. Sometimes when you pray, you got to work too.
Yes, ma'am.
You got to work too. You just can't, we're going to pray. And don't put that burden on God, because God tells you prayer without works. Okay? And then they tell me, well, Mrs. Gore, you got to understand that these things happen because of somebody else. Everybody's got a reason for it to happen. And I bring back the Bible again, because the Bible tells you, leave unto Caesar what is Caesar's.
That's right. That's right.
And leave unto God what is God's. Okay. So we know that Caesar exists, and we know we got to pay that, but he also gives us an out. But we have to maintain order in our community. We have no order. There is no order. And I think that it's by design. And I think, I'm getting in trouble. I think some of our leadership has designed it so we have no order. I think they've designed it so we have no order. And that's why we're in the situation we are, because in Cleveland, we've had nothing but Black leadership. So why do we have a 60? And the mayor is in charge of education. The mayors have been Black for 22 years. So it's not just Black and white. It's called caring and commitment. I care about my community. And I put as my youngest son told me, put your money where your mouth is, Mom. And I did. I did. Win or lose. That's not what I'm caring about. Oh, Mrs. Gore, you're a Republican. I said, no, I'm an American who happens to be of African descent. That's who I am. And if you're going to cheat me, you're going to cheat me because you separate me. You separate me and make me think I'm less. I have never told my children that the big tattoo on their body made them less than anybody. Anybody. You are best. You are the greatest. You are wonderful. You are everything that God made everybody else. And I'm not going to accept an excuse. Well, I'm black. No, no. Everything we touch, we excel at.
Yes,
As
ma'am.
I saw this skater the other day. Black guy. I've never seen skating like this, and I'm a figure skating person.
Mm.
So God gave us everything we needed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's up to us to self-actualize. We have to decide that we are worthy and
Yes.
we deserve, and our children are our most precious objects. They tell me something's wrong with me because I'm pro-life,
Mm.
but I believe in children.
Mm.
My husband wanted 6, we just didn't get them, but we got 3. But I think God has that plan too. Maybe I'm
Mm.
supposed to help the children of Cleveland. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. That's my other 3 that I was supposed to have. I don't go along with the program that is outlined for African Americans.
Mm.
I
Mm.
go along with the program that is outlined by God. And
Yes, ma'am.
He has separated us to a point that we are accepting everything, and we can no longer do that. We have to rely and count on our strengths, and we have to believe in Him, and He will direct us. He will.
Mm.
He's done
Mm.
it for me. I know He'll do it for you. Anybody else, it's free. You don't even have to pay for this. But everybody thought, oh, you're running against a black male. Okay? Okay. So, but if that person is not doing the job and we are not prospering as a people, black or white, then it's okay. I am the first African American female to participate in a general election
Mm.
for mayor. I believe that it doesn't matter. I'm not into this, whatever the gender thing is. I'm not into that. I'm just a woman who raised children, who had a wonderful marriage, who came from decent family, and we didn't have anything but the whole idea that you can be anything you want to be as long as you're willing to work and work hard. Sometimes we forget as a community that it's okay to work hard.
Mm.
It's okay to sacrifice. It's okay. You're not going to get everything. And every fashion, every style that comes on TV or they try to convince us with is the right thing. I've never seen anything. The housewives, and I know you're in Atlanta, I think, the housewives of Atlanta. I mean, I've never done any of those things they do on the house. And I'm not mad about that because it's entertainment.
Mm.
But sometimes we grab it as a lifestyle. And that lifestyle has caused our families to be dissipated. It has caused our communities to dissipate because we believed it wasn't entertainment any longer. And I believe that somebody promoted that so that we would believe it.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm sorry. And so that's my business. I train executives. As I said, my children are very prosperous. I just believe it's time we start facing reality as a people and we stop listening to everything. And I don't have anything against pastors, I don't have anything against anybody, but following God and God's word. And I'm not even a holy roller. I go to church once a week like everybody else, and
Mm.
I try to get there early. And my priest tells me sometimes I'm late. And
Mm.
it's okay because God knows my heart. God knows my heart. And I have put as much energy. I stopped working my job to work this as a job. That's how serious I am.
Mm.
Because I
Mm.
cannot let our community continue to go down without me trying. Now, let me
Mm.
put some caveat in there. If this doesn't work, I walk away and go to Puerto Rico. Okay?
Mm.
But I'm giving it 100% because the Lord placed it on my heart. So I'm working 12 hours a day at this campaign. I'm going out to everything. I bought the t-shirts. I got everything. It's kind of fun. And it's turning out to be probably one of the most biggest adventures I've ever had because I'm seeing people both black and white. I'm hearing the problems and I'm bringing to the attention that we just can't always ask for somebody to do it for us. We have to do it for ourselves. And I hope I'm
Yes,
an
ma'am.
inspiration for young people because young people are coming on my campaign and they're saying, what can we do? And I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? You know, just get involved. There's no hierarchy here in this campaign. We've got about 150 people and they come in and out and they're like, well, I can drop off signs. I can deliver signs. Do you want me to do door to door on the weekend? I've got 2 days off, Mrs. Gore. You want me to do something? It's bringing young people, old people, black people, white people together. I
Mm,
got a call from a guy that told me I'm a socialist and whatever that means, and I'm going to vote for you. No, you're going to vote for yourself
mm,
because I'm only in this for 4 years. I'm not trying to be governor. I'm not trying to be nothing else. I just want to get this right because this is my home. Cleveland is my home.
mm,
Okay, this is where my children were raised. And I believe that if we don't do it now, and again, I've traveled the entire world. I've done things that you can't even imagine that have been so magnificent because God, I guess He wanted me to see it all. I mean, I've seen Muslim communities in the Middle East. I just had people here from the Arab community and they wanted to talk about their cultural things. Well, you know how good it was that I understood their culture because I lived in their culture.
mm,
So we have shared responsibilities. I've been to Kuwait. I've been to Saudi Arabia.
mm,
I've been to Romania.
mm,
I've been to France. So I know exactly none of these are mysteries to me. And you know what I found out visiting all those people? They care about family. The ones that are successful care about family, they care about their culture, and they care about just human life.
mm,
And we have forgotten about that as a community. We forgot about that. I didn't forget, but we have.
mm,
We go to pro-choice. We want to do things. We want to do things that just don't make any sense as a people anymore.
mm,
And I'm talking about the Black community now. We were never like this. We were never like this, and that's why we have to get back to just the basics. I want kids to read. I want moms and dads to take care of their families. You know, and yes, women do work and all that, but I know my mother. She taught me how to be the best lieutenant, okay, to my husband, who was the captain.
mm, mm,
Okay. She taught me that. And together, if you put that together, see, now they tell me that 50% of Black women don't even get married anymore.
mm,
So we have no family. We're single families, we're single parents. That's not how we do this. But somebody told us that everything that hurt our families was the right thing to do. It's not. It's not. We deserve better. We don't deserve the crime that's going on. We don't deserve the pro life abortion all the way to the end. And yes, I am Catholic, in case you want to know. We don't deserve any of that. But somebody has set themselves to a fraction that they want us to believe all of these things. My platform is if I just do one thing, we don't even pick up snow here in Cleveland. We
mm,
don't do leaves. We don't do basic services because it's okay, because Black people will accept anything. We don't have to. We pay taxes. The government doesn't produce anything. The only money the government is spending is our tax dollars. And we don't deserve to be treated like this.
mm,
We don't, our children don't deserve to be treated like this. I met with the police, and the police, they said, well, the police, they're not fair to us, right? Hmm. Well, when I sat down with them, I said, listen, we do need police, right? but that doesn't give you a license to hurt anybody. Because I have sons, and I'm telling you, you know that they do treat us differently. So we need to change that. We need to change all of that. But we're not going to change it just walking up and down the street, we singing We Shall Overcome. We're going to change it because we're going to vote. We're going to vote. We're going to decide what we want, and we're going to demand that things be changed. And we're not going to say somehow this president is any better than that president, because it doesn't work like that. If we vote, we become powerful. If we vote, in the last election here for Cleveland, the primary, we voted at 3%. 1, 2, 3, 3%. That's all that voted, 3%. So you tell me that somebody's going to pay attention to us, because they don't have to worry about us. The Democrats know they're going to get the 3%, and the Republicans know they're not going to get it, so they don't care about what we do either way. We have to wake up to the fact that we deserve better. Our children, families, everybody deserves. We deserve this. When people tell me, oh, we're going to get this, no. You're going to get it because you vote, you attend all of the right things, you play the game this is a game in America. If you don't play the game right, you don't win the marbles. All we have to do is vote. If we vote and let our voices be heard, instead of letting 5 people talk for us, talk for yourself, because every single one of us gets to go in that voting booth. And when they go in that voting booth, that's one challenge to anybody's authority. Every other group goes in and they split their votes. Some go this way, some go that way, but they've somehow convinced us that the only way we can go is one way. Now, why is that? Why only us? No other group, just Blacks. We only get to go one way. Now, you tell me, why is that not controlled? And I tell them when I go out, and I tell my white constituents, you don't vote either. It's not like you're doing a bang up job, right? We just vote less than you. Okay, so you vote 14%. It's 100% in this whole game. You vote 14%, we vote 3%. Nobody's voting here in Cleveland. And that's why. We are the poorest city in the nation, in case you don't know it. We are the very poor. I like living in Cleveland. That's why I'm here. But I've lived everywhere. This is where my parents rest their heads in the cemetery. So I want to stay close to them. And I want to be there when it's their turn. My husband's there. I want to be here. This is where my home is. But I assure you that I'm going to make a difference in this, because all I'm doing is out there with my own money. Nobody can control me. Nobody can say anything. This is my money. And I get to spend it the way I want. There's no special interest group. There's nobody dictating to me. Every decision you see being made in my campaign is my decision. My children, my friends, but there is no special interest group. Somebody said to me, I'd like to donate to your campaign. I said, well, go ahead, help yourself. But I don't have any special interests. You can look at my campaign finance group. The $70,000 is my money. So nobody tells me what to do. We're just doing something that gives back to our community. And even if we don't win, we at least pose the question of, what are you going to do for your community? I mean, I don't know if I'm making sense to you, but this is important to me. This is important to me. And yes, I can afford to do this. And a lot of people can't. But maybe that's why God let me afford to do it. Because as our slow campaign slogan is out of Esther, for a time such as this.
Yes, ma'am.
For a time such as this. So God doesn't give you. The last time I looked, there was David and Goliath.
Come on.
Okay, there was the Philistines that only needed 100 men for 10,000.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? God told me in a dream that I had to do this. So I'm just following my master. Okay, so, and I can afford to do it. And as my son said, you're going to take off I lose money making doing this. But you know what? I have gained so much in character and in love from people out there. So, do you have questions for me?
Yes, ma'am. We have plenty of questions. People are showing you love all around the world. Naima says, "Peace, family. Go ahead, sis. Peace, family. Mimi. Let's hope. Salute to your guests. Thank you for this beautiful conversation." Naima Muhammad says, "Say that. Thank you all for watching, and let's make sure we support you. Is there a website that we can go to show love to you and your campaign?"
Yes, it's goreforcleveland.org. You can show me love, hey, and if you act good, I'll send you a t-shirt. it's it's a dream, but let's hope that everybody wakes up and they understand, what I've done for my children, my godchildren, and tell me, I have tons of godchildren, that this is something that God wants. And I hope that your audience will give me their prayers,
Yes,
because I
ma'am.
know that's more important than anything. I've got money, but I need prayer.
Mm, mm, mm. Okay, yes, ma'am. Well, there's a main point that I really want to go back to,
Go on.
and I posted today on social media. Memphis, Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
high crime rate.
Sure.
This past weekend, crime went down, and
Mm-hmm.
all the people on TikToks were saying, National Guard came, helped clean up the community, and people were celebrating. Saying like,
Mm-hmm.
"Man, thank y'all. You came. This is
Mm-hmm.
what happening." So we
Mm-hmm.
know. I think the outcry from the people in Memphis, of course, Chicago, Atlanta, LA,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems like Cleveland is not being like you're being highlighted about the crime. And I didn't know this, and I was born in
We
Cincinnati.
have
And
the highest crime.
mm,
We beat Chicago.
mm,
Yeah, we have the. I think what happened here is we have a young mayor who I voted for. Now you need to understand that I voted for him. He is the president of the Democratic Mayors Association. And he is also the climate control. And sometimes when you vote for people, I have sons. So I'm in love with every black child out there, especially, black boys just, because I'm a mom.
yes, ma'am.
So when I met him and I said, you know what, we got to give this black young man a chance, right? You know, but sometimes, in corporate America, I am sure you understand this. In corporate America, they give you 90 days, okay? It's called a probationary period, right? When you buy a house, they give you 3 days, right, of rescission and confirmation to cancel the deal.
Mm,
This was a bad hire, and we didn't have any opportunity to stop it.
mm,
This young man got caught. I don't know what happened. I thought he was going to help our community. And things went worse. I've never seen it this bad. I don't know what happened. I said to someone, and I'm being as candid as I can with you, who's backing him that he just gave up on the black community?
mm.
What happened? Crime. We just had a young woman coming out of a Family Dollar, and somebody walked her in the back and shot her dead. This is crazy what's happening here. And I've never seen it like this.
Mm.
And the one thing you have to accept, sometimes in life, you have to understand that it's the head. You can blame the police, you can blame this, you can blame that. But the reality of it is crime is out of control here. In my backyard, and I live in a good neighborhood, they came and took all the stuff out of my car. So my backyard is like 50 feet away from my house. So that's Cleveland now. Cleveland is close to a war zone. Now that the National Guard, the guy from Memphis came in and he said, what did he tell him? I had no choice. He said it 4 times. I had no choice. Crime just got out of control.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
couldn't control it. I had no choice. If you saw that video, and I'm sure you did, he just kept saying, I had no choice. The mayor in Chicago I don't know what's wrong with him, but he got a whole nother issue. But a lot of these cities are trying to hide the fact it's okay. It's okay that we have Black leadership and we need help. There's
mm,
nothing wrong with that. You know, I don't like the way sometimes the president comes off, right?
mm, mm,
I don't like it sometimes, but look at his policies. He gave $500 million to the HBCUs, and not one person said anything about that.
mm, mm,
$500 million he gave away. And
mm,
I'm not even a Trump supporter.
mm,
That's what gets me. But I have
mm.
to look at policy. Policy is important. He
Yes,
gave
ma'am.
$500 million to us. We still mad. He said, listen, I'll come in your city and I'll clean it up. He did it for Memphis. He's doing it for, but we still mad. No, he can't come in. We'd rather have murders and rapes and all that, but we don't
Mm,
want to be cleaned up. What sense does this make?
mm, mm, mm,
I want my sons. No, forget that. I want to live when I go to the Family Dollar.
mm, mm, mm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to live in fear. You have people putting bars back up in their windows. Like, the bars that are cages,
Yes, ma'am.
they're starting to put those back up. But everybody's saying, well, we just got to pray. Prayer without work does not work. The Lord says you must contribute. You
Amen.
must. When my husband and I first got married, and I used to help clean houses to get through college. Well, actually, to help get him through college, but that was okay because my turn was coming, right? But it didn't matter because we had a goal. You know, he got his engineering license, and then he turned around and helped me get my degrees.
Mm,
You
mm,
see how that works? It's not that I was helping him and I was sacrificing me. No, he got his, and then he turned around and said, okay. And then when we had children, he said, well, you need to stay home and be with my kids, and at least till they go to school. None of this go to daycare at 6 weeks. He can't even talk. But that's sacrifice. Did I like cleaning houses and doing silver? I don't know. It didn't even bother me because I knew one day I wasn't going to be doing that.
but go
You
ahead
know,
then. Yes, ma'am.
I knew one day was coming. I knew
Mm,
he'd get this engineering degree, and we had a piece of paper of a job offer as soon as he graduated. Man,
mm,
come on. I can clean silver. What? I can clean houses because that's what it takes.
mm, mm, mm.
Determination, commitment, and you have to have a family. And he promised me, baby, we get through this. I'm going to take care of you. And he
Mm,
did. Sometimes you got to sacrifice. I know
mm,
this
mm,
sounds crazy, but you have to. Everybody can't do everything by themselves. Sometimes you got to help your man be who he's supposed to be. And once he get to be who he's supposed to be, he help you get to be who you're supposed to be.
okay, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not advocating anything. I'm just telling you what happened to me.
Beautiful.
You know what I'm saying? And then we have these 3 kids, and now they're married and
Mm,
they're taking care of their kids because they saw the example. But we need to get that family structure back together, and we need to get these communities back together. And like you said, Memphis, I had no choice. Y'all didn't listen to me. Okay? I had no choice. When he said that, I sent him a note, email, and I said, sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes you don't. Now he caught criticism, but now they're applauding him, aren't they?
it's a fact.
Okay, you can go to the barbecue joint on Saturday night and not worry about what's going to happen to you. Okay, I want to go to the Family Dollar and not worry about what's going to happen
Mm,
to me. He had
mm,
no choice. And sometimes not our own fault, because I believe that the media had a lot to do with the direction of our community. I believe that. And I
I,
believe it's all forged. They did this to us, but we
mm,
got to take our communities back. And sometimes, it's like my mom, when I had my first child, I'm just going to share, you may not even understand this. And she said, now she was here for 8 weeks, right? And she said, this is your first one. You don't know what you're doing. I have to show you how to take care of this baby. And I said, no, I read the books. I went to the classes. I did. I really did. And I said, Mama, you don't have to stay this long. And she said, no, I'm going to stay because what I'm going to teach you ain't in those books. I'm going to teach you
Amen.
how to take care of this baby. And she was serious. Okay. I never forgot what she taught me because see, it wasn't in the book.
Mm,
What when the baby don't drink water, she said, put a little bit of Karo syrup in it. The baby
mm.
drank water. Some things she knew that I didn't know, and it wasn't, nobody wrote it down. I'm telling you, sometimes you need a little help.
Yes, ma'am.
And what Memphis got was a little help. Okay. And down in Memphis, the jazz joints down on Beale Street. Come on, you can go
Yeah,
down there now.
I've been to Bill Street. I've been
You've
to
been
this.
there? And
Yes,
the
ma'am.
barbecue joints off?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Now you
ma'am.
can go eat barbecue and go listen to jazz because they didn't got it under control now. And sometimes you need a little help.
Mm, mm, mm.
And ain't nothing wrong with asking for a little help just to get yourself together. Now, the second baby, I knew how to take care of. Mama didn't have to come but 2 weeks. She had to come 8 weeks for the first one, right? She came 2 weeks. Mama
Mm,
came 2 weeks, but I knew what I was doing and she was proud of me.
mm.
I'm just telling you, sometimes until you get back on your feet, until you know what you're doing, you need a little help.
Yes, ma'am.
And the man had no choice. I ain't mad at him. I ain't
Me
mad at
neither.
him at all. Some people are, but I ain't mad at him.
Me
He did
neither.
what was necessary. Any other questions, y'all?
Yes, ma'am. Just two more for you. We want to, and first of all, people saying Naima said we are definitely praying for you, and thank you
Thank you.
everybody for showing love
Thank
all
you.
around the world. We want to ask you about the connection between Brother Corey Muhammad and Minister Rowland and the Superior Renaissance. How did this all come about?
Now, see, you're trying to ask me to tell you my age. I ain't going to do
Okay, 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 okay.
that. Almost 30 years ago,
Mm,
I met Mr. Rowland Muhammad, minister.
mm,
And at that time, it was 30 years ago, it was a different time, right?
mm,
And when you're talking about 30 years ago, I think the minister saw in me, you see, I try to be humble and I try to just help. I was running clothing drives. I would go around to businesses. I know this sounds crazy, and get them to donate clothes, sheets, stuff, and I would go to the wealthier white suburbs and get them to donate toasters, ovens, whatever, and I would rent an auditorium and I would set it up like a store.
mm.
And in public housing, I would let people come and take what they wanted.
Mm.
Take what you need for your children. You need sheets, you need clothes, and there would be racks and racks of it because people were very generous. And I did that for 3 years.
Mm.
Just because I saw the need that no child should not have what they need.
Mm. Mm.
You know, if you need sheets, you need towels, whatever you need, we had there, and you just come take it. You come get it, and the people that were giving it and donating it, they were very generous. They were our majority community,
Yes,
and they
ma'am.
donated very nice things. But we took care of it, and then we started a library, and Sarah J. Harper was my mentor, and
Mm.
she was the first Black female to sit on the Ohio Supreme Court. And she was my mentor. So we started a library for her and we collected children's books for the inner city projects
Mm.
because I have always been an advocate for children.
Mm.
I
Mm.
believe that if we save the children, we save our nation. I know Minister Elijah Muhammad used to say, you teach a woman and you teach a nation.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. And my father, Moses Edward Jones Jr., he was a follower of Elijah Muhammad. He became very acquainted when he was in prison.
Mm.
Okay. So now you know my whole story.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So he was a follower of Elijah Muhammad. And, so How to Eat to Live, we grew up. I don't know if you know that book. Is it still in print?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My father raised us on those principles. Most people thought it was strict,
Mm,
but you know what? It was fruitful. Okay. And that's why I think when I think of the fruit of Islam, because it was fruitful.
mm,
And I think my father had 8 girls,
mm.
8 daughters. So, and he was a fantastic man. He wasn't good. He was fantastic. I wish he were here now. But
Yes.
yeah, he learned it while he was incarcerated. I am not ashamed of that because
Mm.
people learn things as they are young. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So anything else?
Yes, ma'am. Well, okay, thank you for your patience. I just want to let people know people are showing you love all around. Like, it's not Brother Hamza. Pray you and your family doing well. Your grandmother, Brother Houston Bird out of Houston. Everybody's showing love. Once again, we just want to thank you, and
Thank you.
hopefully, God willing, I will be in Cleveland to work on something with Mr. Rowland, of course, Brother Corey with Superior Renaissance, and we can get an in-person interview. I think that would be great. If you
You
need
are always
anything,
welcome.
yes, ma'am. If you need anything, you're welcome with us. The People's Podcast is your home. Thank you to Miss Alicia Brown for assisting you and
Yes.
helping us put this together. And we are sending nothing but prayer and
Thank
positive
you.
energy to you and your family and your campaign. This is our first time communicating. I didn't know we had so much in common. And man, we just need more. I pray that more
Thank you.
men, of course, women, children, but more men, I hope some men stand with you to let people know the state of Ohio, primarily the city of Cleveland, that is hands off you and your
Thank you.
campaign. That you have the support of the brothers, and that you, as long as Brother Corey is with you, then we know he's straight. But we one call away down here in Atlanta,
Thank
and
you.
thank you very
Thank you.
much. And we're gonna make sure we donate, but we also I got to make sure I get a shirt so I can wear a shirt.
If you give Alicia, Alicia's contact, I will personally send you a shirt. And any
Thank
of your
you.
audience that wants one, I think they're going to be collector's items. The first Black female to be the mayor of Cleveland. Okay?
So we're gonna see.
Thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much.
Yes, ma'am. And like the show that I used to watch, the Drew Carey show,
Yes.
Cleveland Rocks. Let's go. All right. So we just want to say Cleveland Rocks to everybody who's out there watching. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. You have a blessed night, man.